Welcome back, everybody. I'm here with JP. This is our August update for graded group of Star Wars CCG August 2025. So August is kind of a low-key month here. People are on vacation, kind of half checked outside. So this is not a super long episode, but we were going to go around the horn and cover our usual topics, of course, JP. So our contest, we did not have one for July, took a break. Wanted to give some time for the upcoming categories that we needed to come up with. So our upcoming categories for August is Forest Nature Theme. September is non-PSA, non-BGS slabs. So show us all the unique ones. We want to see SGC, the TAG, the HGA, CGC, and all the other funky grading card companies stuff out there. October, we're going to be doing Spies, Thieves, and Smuggler cards. So cards with that theme for October. And then stay tuned for upcoming month contests after that. But that's where we'll leave off with that. JP, I'm going to jump into Facebook group updates on your end. How do we look?
Yeah, pretty good. There's been a lot of activity. Lots of people are selling, lots of people following the rules. Our membership jumped up like between 12 and 14 people just in the past month. There's been a surge and we're getting super close. So there's 974. And remember, when we hit 1,000, we're going to celebrate. We're going to have a giveaway for, 5 people, I think. Everyone's name's going to go on a wheel and we're going to spin it and give away some pretty cool things. So we're getting there. Little by little, but this month was a big surge in membership. We did have a scammer that was amongst our members that actually had 2 separate accounts going, and once we identified it and we kind of did some research and made sure we removed that person and any future accounts that are tied to their Facebook account. So we completely cleared out any of the funky stuff that we don't need in our group. And, we are always monitoring. So if you see something or suspect something, we did some pretty good in-depth research. We went all the way through the different pictures that they were using and some of the names that pointed back to even a different account on Facebook. That's a shady account which has multiple problems, and people have reported all kinds of bad incidences. So we're still on high security and we keep this as clean as possible. So still feel free to buy and sell. Just be careful, talk to the group experts and make sure that your transactions are safe.
Yeah, if it doesn't feel right, it's okay to ask for references and look for the usual players. Hey, anybody vouch for this person? Check the certification numbers on the slabs. Do they belong to somebody else? Some of this stuff can be found fairly easily. So if it just feels off, it's okay.
Right.
We have multiple experts in here and, trusted advisors that will help navigate this to keep this a safe space, because we do not want this to become a dumping ground for shady selling. So
right, and there's things. I mean, there's a lot of population 1 or 2. So if you've seen it out somewhere, you've seen some eBay auction that's got just the one available, and you see it all of a sudden show up in our group or one of the other Star Wars CCG groups, then just know, you say, hey, man, I know that's not theirs. I've seen it somewhere else. Somebody else owns it. And you can question it, that you may be the only person to save the group from somebody having a bad transaction by saying, wait, I've seen that somewhere else. That definitely doesn't belong to this person. There's no way they'd get their hands on it. So speak up and, don't be afraid to ask for references or say, hey, that needs to be coined. Make sure you get somebody's name and dates and that it looks legitimate. So, and a lot of times you guys are pretty quick. And you do a better job than me because I get reports all the time. Hey, this looks shady and that looks shady. And I'll take the time to investigate it.
Yeah, so glad to know things are on the right track with that and keeping the group in a good standing. No upcoming immediate shows that we have, but I did want to bring up a website I've been using that has been accurate in terms of some of the local shows that I wasn't sure it would keep track of, but I'm not sure if some of you guys use it, but tcdb.com, essentially it's trading card database, has been very helpful in finding shows. It breaks it down by state and by month, and it also works in Canada, Germany, UK. So for our foreign friends, this might also be a good reference point to see what's going on. I didn't realize there were like regular shows almost in my backyard all the time, sports cards, non-sports cards. So now I'm in the process of trying to see if I can get some tables. Not looking to go into a collector con per se, but now I can inquire knowing this stuff is really small and local, get the awareness piece out there. And I know, JP, you've had your own struggles trying to get vendor tables, but I have to imagine if there's big shows, there's also little shows, the stuff that shows up in these like hotels, maybe there's 30, 40 tables. They're not as big. But I think everybody could benefit from just getting aware of, hey, what's coming up in the next quarter, in my backyard. You might be surprised what's over there. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Graded companies, in terms of from what I've seen and what JP has seen, doesn't seem to be any specials. It still seems that PSA is pretty backed up. I haven't seen any specials with Beckett. There's still a solid, on ramp with CGC. If you decide to join into their membership, you can use those fees towards grading. So that's been pretty strong. I think we talked about tag before. We've seen a few tag slabs pop up in the group, which I think is really interesting. So very curious to see how that evolves and keeping an eye on that. But the growth of CGC is very interesting, mostly because it's coming from this Pokemon angle, but we've been seeing it creep into the Star Wars CCG world too. And notably, which I was going to lead into our kind of last segment here, is some of the sales we've been seeing, not just with CGC, but in the last month. But for example, on July 1st, we have an Obi-Wan Kenobi Japanese foil, Reflections 3, CGC 9.5, sold for $159. We have another CGC sale of Jabba the Hutt, CGC 7, $11. Luke Skywalker Premier, CGC 9, $70. Luke Skywalker foil, CGC 9, $250. Wedge Antilles, A New Hope, CGC 9, $24.39. So we are seeing there's a CGC 10 Death Star 2 flagship executor non-foil for $250. So these are creeping up, and frankly, the slabs look pretty nice. I've actually been acquiring a bunch of them for my PC in other franchises and stuff, and I really like that they have those pristine potential labels, right? So you have that like Beckett element, and the slabs are good. I think Mark had alluded to this a while ago, but since he had initially spoken how much he likes it, they had redesigned the slabs, so now I think they're even nicer. So very interesting. I'm curious to see how that evolves and what your take is on that, JP. But
yeah,
very interesting.
It is interesting, and I'm curious to know that if somebody sends off a nice group, if they're going to do a reveal like they do with PSA, and here lately, I mean, there's been a lot of streams being published that everybody's getting a bunch of their returns back. So I can tell our group is still pounding away at PSA. It's just that they're getting them a lot later than what they're expecting. But yeah, I love the CGC slabs, and I think I saw somewhere like there's a base for it that you can put the slab in, and it has like different colors. It kind of highlights the edges of the card.
Like the border covers and stuff. Yeah, you can get those in a bunch of different colors and styles. It's very interesting. I think for like a high quality one or some PC you wanted to really show off, it's pretty cool. They snap in. I had in some bulk lot, I got a CGC 9 Pokemon Sneasel, and it had it's not a very notable card. It was just kind of like thrown in, but it had a black outer snap case thing that just kind of fit around the slab. And it was like a solid fit. Like it just kind of snapped in. I think the way they designed the outside of that slab is conducive to allow for those sort of custom elements, whereas the PSA slabs are very flat and angular. These have kind of like a rounded and
Right.
notched edge to them. It's kind of
Yep.
interesting.
So,
Yeah,
pretty cool.
so
I mean, I'm totally interested in doing CGC pretty soon. It seems like by the time we start doing our stream here to update each month, it is getting towards the end of the month or into the next month. So we're able to see what the new specials and discounts are. But right now it's been just kind of flat. But hey, you guys are doing a good job of grading. So if somebody out there does a CGC submission, please record it. I want to see kind of just a big reveal of 10 or 15 cards. That'd be cool.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about CGC, unlike some of the other outside grading companies that we've heard that creep into the space, and that's like their new niche, and there's countless ones, right? Like there's countless ones now. There's probably 20 plus, random different grading companies. Like every day I feel like I discover something new, ACG, AW, like ACE, like all this other sidebar stuff, right? But CGC comes from a well-established company that has a long-standing tradition, like with PMG, like the paper money guarantee. They've been grading currency for a long time and are a trusted name and partner in
Right.
that. And they've done comic book grading and
Right.
other stuff. They've been doing that stuff for a long time. So like they already have a very lengthy, trusted track record that's welcomed and like established in the collectible universe. So unlike some of these other companies that like pop in and out here and there where they just like want to dabble in grading, this is already like a well. I don't. In other words, I don't. CGC is not going away, right? Like this isn't like a phase up
Right.
and down. Like this is here to stay, and they have like the backing and depth, to continue to scale and to be a recognized name in the collectible industry. So I just want people to like consider that and think of the back of their mind. And I think that's part of the reason why some of this stuff is holding its value, so arguably very similar to PSA, especially for a PC collection. That's just like my general opinion, because I have numerous $2 bill notes through PMG, and frankly, I kind of wish I had more of them switched over there, because I got kind of screwed on PCGS turning to Legacy. That's a whole other story for another day. But in other words, PMG has not gone away, right? Like, and they're still here. So just kind of food for thought.
Yeah, and to add to that too is you're in the right group, because our main goal is to track. We are, Star Wars CCG graded, but you'll know we track sales for everything and the growth. So you'll see month over month of how CGC has been growing in the industry and how much more business that they're getting. So just, don't take our word because we're talking about it here on the stream. We have all the data and values. So I know we have a bunch of people in our group, including Luke. Luke does a great job of keeping track of all the sales for sealed. Heck, we're starting to do even autographs now and graded autographs. So this is just one of the elements, and watch the, state of the market. Yeah. And listen to all that. So stay in contact and listen to all the communication, because we track it all, and you can see the numbers for yourself. It's just not, hey guys, you probably need to start doing CGC. They're taking on a big part of the market right now for all the grading.
Yeah, and piggybacking off that as well, PSA partnered with GameStop to do these direct submissions from GameStop. So a lot of the volume they're getting is from GameStop, like necessarily. So when you think about the organic growth of people just wanting to submit the CGC and like doing it on their own, it's even more interesting. Great to see. Frankly, I think PSA deserves like some competition, like some healthy competition. I really do. Like, some people absolutely love the slabs, but I mean, the grading standards and some of these slabs that are coming out from these other companies are pretty fantastic, and I think if anything, that just means that, PSA is going to have to step up their game. Like, you can't just sit there and slump and be like, well, we're number one. We don't need to innovate. We don't need to change. We don't need to update. We don't need to evolve. We don't need to speed up. We don't have to deal with customer problems, because we're number one. We're sitting big, fat, and happy, But if other people are nipping at the, at the top there, rightfully so, and getting some healthy competition, that's what's going to drive innovation and make the space better, anyways. Ideally, I'd love to see more slabs when it's one says it's a 10, another says a 10, and we can kind of treat like these cards as like a similar metric in terms of quality of the card, right?
Right.
8 should be similar, 10 should be similar, right? Like truly, we would love to, come to the day where we can all kind of like agree, like they're very, very close in their grading standards and like an agreement we can all come to. Because at the end of the day, we just want validation and verification that this, one, is a genuine card, and two, that it is in a condition that people are demanding of, so that we can charge the right price or assess the correct value of the card, right? At the end of the day, right? So, all right, I've rambled on enough, but there's some cool sales we'll talk about here through the month. We've highlighted some of those, and I'd love to get JP's take on some of these. So some of the biggest sales we've seen, we have July 1st, a Darth Maul Young Apprentice AI Foil Reflections 3 PSA 6 sold for $650. It's just the demand for that card, right? Like at that point, right. It's not about the number. That's wild. Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight Foil Reflections 2 PSA 7 $275. I mean, that's arguably like kind of a rough raw, like not even a great raw one, but still holding its value, right? Again, the card is just a raw. We have a sealed pack of Cloud City PSA 10 for $315. Cloud City, right? Cheapest pack?
Right.
Not cheapest pack? Most expensive pack?
Right. But again, it does cost some money to get your packs graded. And when they come back high grades, that's like a done deal. It's already sealed up, and that one's already graded to the max. So if you're the kind of person that wants one of those packs from every expansion, every series, this may be the way to go, because I'm seeing more and more packs graded all the time. I did it myself for a few of the packs, and they're neat. They're just expensive to get graded, and they're a hot commodity. Once you're got them graded, they sell for a premium. Yeah,
they are expensive to grade, but very interesting. I mean, I don't think there's enough quite data points to really assess like other people's opinion on it, but I would be curious to know, like, when you're looking at a pack, how are you grading that in terms of like, okay, this should probably get a 7 or this should get a 9? Like, I don't think I'd really know how to do that, other than, is it roughly pretty centered? Does it have any nicks or scratch? I don't really know. Like, I feel like that's totally out of my wheelhouse. I don't know what your experience is with that. But
yeah, it's hard to do inspections, especially if you're like the first person doing it. When I got started, I might have been the only one or one of two people, and I didn't even know where to start. I knew a lot about sports cards and what they expected on sports cards. And when I started getting, into the weeds with the CCG and how bad their quality assurance was and their quality checks, I had to start, making my inspections even harder. So there's still two things that I'm not sending off for grading. A lot of is foils. I haven't mastered that. I feel like I've mastered just the regular.
I don't know if anybody's mastered that. I think we've gotten some lucky breaks here and there.
But foils are ridiculous. Yeah, if they come back a 9, that's like nearly a 10 or an 11. But
I get why a lot of them are disqualified, though. There are a lot of people that look at the card and it looks good, but they don't actually grab the magnifying glass and look at it under light, and you can clearly see there's scratches, scrapes, and lines on them that you cannot see with the naked eye. So I get when people get these 6, 7, 8s, they're like, I'm like, you didn't look at it. If you looked at it, you would have saw it and know not to submit it to grade.
Right.
Because I've gone through a lot of my spare foils, and I actually turned down most of them. Like 80% of them, I'm like, nope.
Right.
Nope. And it's like demoralizing, because you want to believe out of a big stack of cards you have a bunch to grade, but like not with foils. It's not that great. Right. Other interesting foils. Lord Vader Foil Reflections 2 PSA 10 $2,200 sold for July 11th. That's very significant sale. Other large sales here, we had PSA 10 Reflections 2 foil of Home 1 sold for $444.99. And other one of note, Flagship Executor foil Reflections 2 PSA 10 sold for $999.99. And then we also had a Mara Jade Emperor's Hand foil Reflections 2 BGS 9 sell for $300. So those are some of the big call out items. And there was a Dagobah sealed pack PSA 10 that sold for $315 as well. So those are the highlights over July, sales wise.
And that's at a 61. We have a pretty healthy month still of all the sales. But the one that really stood out to me this month while I was looking kind of through them and watching them and listening to people in the group, it was that Flagship Executor that a few of the members were trying to reach out to find out who owned it, who was selling it. And, there's still going to be people out there that are doing this that aren't part of our group. I know Kyle and I just had a quick sidebar before we started recording, and we were saying there's going to be people because like both Kyle and I, we collect whole sets. And so there may be other cards that person has that you want to reach out and say, hey, I'm interested in some of your other stuff too. So if you're not part of the group and you're one of those guys that just stumbled across this video and you want to learn more about it, please join our group, Star Wars CCG Graded on Facebook, because we're trying to build this community. And most of the others that bought and sold are all in our group. I know everybody that bought and sold the rest of those cards. So that one was really kind of a mystery that there was somebody out there who's not part of our group, has a population 1 of a foil PSA 10 that sent it in, got it back, and put it on eBay and sold it for a premium. And they have no idea what's going on in our group.
And it's funny is they probably sent it in a bulk lot before PSA knew the real value of these, right? So they probably got it graded for $14, like a while ago. That's what's really wild. Just like pure win all across the board. I don't know if I'd sell that. I think if I had that, I would keep that. Personally. That's
the thing. What do you want to do with your collection? Are you out there to flip it, or are you collecting it, or both? You can do both. Right? But this guy, I went out and looked at his other stuff, and he's got 10 or 12 other auctions out there that are all PSA 10s, and they're all mix of different series and different things. And I'm like, the guy at least knows about how to inspect cards and send in the good stuff. Unless he's just got 1,000,007, 8, and 9 sitting back, and he's just putting out the 12 that he got back 10s. I don't know, but
it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
Very interesting mystery. So that's all I got for this month. Thank you, JP. Any final thoughts before we connect again here?
No, I'm just glad we're getting back to the competitions. I'm excited about that. And then probably next month, I'm personally going to get back into shows. So we'll have a lot more data there. And then who knows, maybe in the next month or two, we are going to crest 1,000 members, and then we will be in touch with that.
Love that. All right. Awesome note to end on. Thank you, JP.
All right. Thanks, Kyle. Talk to you later.